Hey, everybody, welcome into the Raw Knuckles podcast. We'd really appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, and share with a friend.
And before the meeting, I sat down with Shea and Corey Perry, and we were talking about the situation. And then we started talking about opportunity. And then, those guys were, you been through a lot. But like a guy like Shea, never passed the second round in his career. And we had a chance there.
When I stepped on the ice, I never backed down and I never stayed down.
And I was vicious and I was malicious, and I don't care.
I'm alive. He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town. That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine. Alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive.
Welcome to the Raw Knuckles podcast, Dom. Awesome to take the time to join us today. I appreciate it. Listen, so you 4 years of college, Vermont. You turned pro in 95, 96. You played in Raleigh that year, 6 games. Then you went to Huntington. Then in the American Hockey League, you played 5 games with the Cornwall Aces. Now, at that point, what went into your decision to go over to France and play hockey instead of try and pursue it over here?
Well, a little bit what I said, that, I thought it was maybe a little bit too far, but having that mindset, maybe coming into college, that I wanted to become an NHL player, would have helped me. I think I had a good career and everything. I was a good player, but I didn't want to, be on the bus and travel. And, I probably in the back of my mind decided I was not going to be an NHL player. So I said, I want to see something different. And I had a friend playing, and I left too quick. The first opportunity I had to leave for Europe, I did. I had a friend in Nick Perot, that was my line mate in Vermont, left his team for personal reason, and they needed somebody to come in at Christmas time. And I had no idea what league, no idea where I was going, but he was telling me it's a great place, a great city, good bunch of guys on the team. Contract.
What was the hockey like? Because you had 105 points in 27 games.
That was well, basically, it's a different challenge, and obviously the level was not that great, but you were the one deciding if your team was winning or losing. So that was a different challenge. I mean, you almost needed to carry the team on your back and your line mates and bring everyone, and that was. For me, I took it like a life experience. It was great, and I had I had to make the difference. I had to be carrying the team, that's for sure. But I made my way up to the best league in France, and then from there was it was pretty good hockey. I would compare it to probably the East Coast or something like that, where we had like 10 imports, 4 Canadians, 4 Finns, Czech, Slovak, things like that. So playing with 10, 12 French guys, and that was a beautiful region, though. So I was living in some really nice places and met lifetime friends.
Yeah.
I still keep in touch. And I went this summer, and it's especially the last place I played. It's a great place. The rink is on the beach, 30 kilometers from Spain. The weather is great. It's a pretty nice place. So
yeah, that atmosphere, right? That atmosphere for hockey. Like, listen, it's funny. Tim played over in Russia. He played in Lugano. And when I retired from the game, I had an opportunity to go to Bolzano, and I didn't. I said, I don't want to take I always look back and kick myself in the ass. I didn't try that because I want to experience what it would be like to live over there and play in, a league where you only played a few games a week, and it would have been awesome. So, you had that experience, and that's awesome. So you're over there, 2001, 2002 is your last year, and then what happens from there? You leave hockey, and then I don't see you in Halifax till 2011, 2012, the first season you're there. What did you do for those 10 years after you retired from the game?
But you know what? That last season,
Yeah.
we had our coach at the time had a very serious illness, and basically Bob Ouellet is Xavier Ouellet's dad.
Yeah.
We were playing together, and our coach got really sick. He couldn't get out of bed for like 2 months, and Bob was a veteran playing there. He was the captain, and so he became the coach. And so me and him were preparing practices, preparing videos and game plans and things like that. And I was involved a little bit coaching over there, helping out junior teams and things like that. But that year, where we had that time where we needed to take care of everything, that's where I decided that when I stop playing, that's what I want to do. I want to coach, and that was really clear for me. And that moment, that incident, or that month, a month and a half, 2 months that we needed to run the team, really gave me that.
So it gave you the bug. It gave you the bug.
For sure. And then I came back, and I went 2 years as an assistant at the University of Trois-Rivières.
Yeah.
And we won the Canadian championship there. That was the last time before this year that the university won. And then at the same time, my last year there, we started working on getting a junior A team in Joliet, and we had an expansion team starting in 2004.
The L'Action.
L'Action. We had a lot of fun because we started with nothing. So we no players, no jersey, no sponsors, no ice. So I touched pretty much every part of the business, really, even though it's a different level. It was great to set up school system for our players, and billets, and all that kind of thing. So we had fun, we had success, and then moved on to the Montreal Juniors and assistant, and then Halifax.
Then with the Mooseheads and Bobby Smith. Was Bobby the general manager at the time, right? And
Bobby's the owner.
The owner, yeah.
He's working closely with Cam Russell, that is the GM. Yeah.
So you go there, and what do you have? 5, 6 years there, 5 years there, and then 2 more. Where were the last 2 years, Junior?
In Drummondville.
Drummondville, that's right. Yeah, sorry about that. And you win the Memorial Cup 2012, 2013. You had some great players there. Certainly Drouin, McKinnon, coaching those guys. Certainly as a coach there on the bench, are you looking at certain guys you just know are going to make it in the NHL? You just know they're making it?
For sure. I mean, Nathan and Joe. Nathan was, when I came in, Nathan, Joe, and Zach Fucali, all 16, and they are playing important roles. I think Zach played in that probably, 50 games out of the 68, and McKinnon and Drouin are playing on top line, and they're 16, and for sure. I mean, Nathan had that special drive. He's we see him play. You guys know how quick and fast and skilled and the pace he could be playing at. You could see that when he was young. He was almost skating the same way, but the only thing is that he needed to learn to slow down at time. Just so he was putting more pressure on his own players by his speed sometimes than on the other team, because he was so quick. Guys had about a split second to give him the puck. He was flying by, and so working with him was interesting. He's a great guy. He's driven, and Joe came in November when he was 16, his first year. Before he started in the midget AAA, and you could see the skills, and really those guys exploded in the playoffs. And we had a good run in 11 and 12 that really prepared us for the next season, because we went in the third round.
Yeah.
And that year we ended up in a bad situation against Quebec, being 0-3 in the second round and having to climb back, and we won in 7. And you played at the Colisée, um, you know, uh, going and winning game 6 and 7 in the Colisée for 16-year-old guys and young players playing in front of 15,000.
Yeah, that's a big deal, right?
It's a big deal, and so I think it really prepared us well for our big year that was 12 and 13.
Yeah, the following year win the Memorial Cup.
What about yourself, though, Dom? Were you at that point thinking, like, what was your thinking about coaching in the NHL? Is that where you're trying to get? Did you ever think about coaching college after
No,
playing there?
like I said, I
in
had
the
a
U.S.
totally different mindset. You'll find me crazy, but we were talking about France, and I remember probably after we played our last game in that I played, and I was with Ouellet, and I told him, I said, Bob, I don't know when you're gonna come back. I'm going back. I'm gonna be coaching, and when you come back, I want you to coach with me. And he did, like for 4 years with Joliet. And then after that, one day I'm gonna be an NHL coach, and we'll make that run together. Um, and Bob was laughing. I mean, we're pretty far from the NHL when you play in France, right? Coaching and everything, but
it's a dream. You had the dream of doing it, and you went after it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I believed it too.
Yeah.
Like not only dreaming it, but I believed that that's where I was going, and even going through my time, and I didn't skip any steps.
No, you didn't. I was going to say that you went through every step, and I liken it to kind of like Jacques Lemaire in a sense. Jacques, he left, he went to Europe. He was a player coach. Then he came back. He coached in college in the States. Then he coached junior, and then pro. And we know what happened there. Now, before you head to the pro game, I got to touch on it because 2017 you coached the World Junior Canada team. 2017 you win a silver medal. A lot of people were thinking that it's going to be gold. So you win a silver medal. There was some disappointment there, obviously, in Canada. I was living here at the time. I had moved back, and I remember the disappointment. Were you at all worried that winning the silver medal just wasn't enough and you weren't going to get an opportunity to do it the next year?
Not really. Not the way we've done it. I think what a game it was against the U.S. in Montreal.
Yeah.
The final. I mean, losing in shootout, and that was probably one of the best games played.
It was an awesome game.
Crazy. So. No, I was not worried. Obviously, coaching Hockey Canada and the World Junior can be going both sides, right? If you go in and you finish 6th, it could be the end for you, right?
Yeah.
But not that way. And quickly, I think the next day, I had a talk with Hockey Canada, and they asked me to do it again the following year, and it was pretty fresh on we're like, do we go back in again? Because it's a lot of work, summertime, traveling for the first part of the season to see players, and 1 month at Christmas. But one thing that brought me back is we wanted to leave with gold. And my dad passed away when I was an assistant in Finland, and during the tournament, and without saying anything in my mind, I said, he was a pretty competitive guy, and I was like, I got to come back with gold. And that tournament didn't go well. Then I had the chance to coach the team for 2 years. And for me, it was a way to close a chapter with my dad, and just by him passing during the tournament, it was meaning even more for me to be bringing back that goal, because there was some personal.
Yeah. Personal connection to that, especially with your dad. I get it. And so you get the silver, then you come back, you get that gold medal. Boom. Now, in your mind, where are you going from here? You've done it all now in junior, Memorial Cup, and are you getting that opportunity in the NHL? How did that come about? Getting that opportunity as assistant coach in the NHL, and were there other opportunities for you other than just Montreal?
Yeah, it went quick. When we finished the playoff in Drummondville, I had obviously I had the Canadiens and Claude talking to me. I had Washington that was offering me the job in Hershey, and the same day the Blues called for their farm team. Didn't have time to have much talk. I had two offers on the table. I needed to decide in between going to Hershey or coming with the Canadiens. So I thought it was a pretty good opportunity to get into the pros with Montreal and being an assistant and seeing how everything is working and seeing it from the inside. And it was a great opportunity, and Claude really gave me a lot of confidence. He let me, he gave me a lot of things to do, and I learned a lot, so it was good.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
Well, yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, what was, I guess how to word this question. As a player, you sometimes to jump right into Montreal, the Canadiens. Like, did you ever think like maybe a year in the farm system as a coach? Does that apply the same like a player? Like because you're just jumping from a junior kids to like the best of the best and the guys that demand a lot. Like, do you feel like maybe a year in the minors? I think you said St. Louis. Like, were you considering that at all? Were you nervous? Does that make sense? What I was asking there?
It makes sense, and that was the decision that I had to take. Am I going to the AHL being a head coach or going to the NHL as an assistant coach? And but I felt I was ready, and it's the players are pretty good to judge. And I remember running my first meeting the first time. I think it was before a exhibition game, and I remember having talking to the team and everything. And after the meeting, Kerry is pretty quiet guy. He's not there, but he just walked by me and he gave me the fist bump with a wink, and it kind of, okay, we can see that,
Yeah.
you're going to be helping us out. And from there, I mean, I felt that I had no problem adjusting and working with the guys. I think, what players want, they just want to understand. They want to know what's going on. They want to see the purpose behind what we do, and that's it.
So, yeah, you few years as assistant coach, and then you end up in 2021 on the 24th of February getting named interim head coach. Now, when you were named interim head coach, did that bother you at all? Like, why don't you just name me head coach instead of interim? Why do I have to have the interim tag? What went on there?
Well, it went pretty quick. It was a surprise too. I mean,
Yeah.
you never expect, when it's gonna happen, so yeah, it was a surprise.
You couldn't tell. You couldn't tell. Like Claude was kind of having an issue with the players. Because come on, you're a head coach. You kind of get the pulse of the team. You're assistant coach, but at the time, did you get a feeling that maybe Claude was kind of on his last leg here?
Tough to tell, but we were not playing that great, that's for sure, and not having that much success. And Berge brought a lot of guys over the summer, and we had a really good start of the year, and then we had that part where we were not playing well. But I knew we were not playing well, right? But never had a talk with anyone like anything. I was not expecting anything, and then we play in Ottawa, and then I think we lose in overtime, and then we're flying to Winnipeg the next day. So we stay in. Usually you don't stay in Ottawa, right? You come back, but we stay in Ottawa. So we I just go up to the room, the meal room, and have my meal, and and then I leave, and when I hit the elevator, I get a call. I get a call from Burge to come and see him. So I stop by my room and drop my bag, but I'm walking to his room, and I'm like, is that the reason why?
Am I going out the door?
Is it? Yeah, am I out, or
Yeah.
is it like he wants me to coach, or what is it? So yeah, and he tells me that he wants to get me in and interim. Obviously, like we don't like it. Okay, that's the situation. I take it, and I think for the moment, it's probably for the next few months, it's probably more pressure because how many chances are you going to have, right? But at the end, after the Stanley Cup playoff, I they needed to give me a better contract now.
Yeah.
That if they would have signed me on a 3-year deal that year.
So you're going to take the reins now, okay? You've been an assistant coach, and we know the role sometimes of assistant coach. You have to be a buffer between the players and the head coach, and you got to kind of change the diapers and, pat them on the fanny, and everything's okay, boys, don't worry. Big mean Claude Julien, you have to be that buffer. Now, you're taking over for him, and you come in that room with those same players, and now you have to instill your system and your values into this team and what you want. How difficult was that? And what was your system? And how did you present it to the players when you took over?
Yeah. Well, we flew that day, and then went to Winnipeg, and I called a meeting at let's say at 6 or 7 at night, because we needed to prepare. And what I wanted to do is just simplify a few things and make sure that we were really on the same page. So, and talking with the players, obviously I was going from assistant to becoming a head coach, but we already had a pretty good relationship, and I think respect was good on both sides.
Yeah.
And they told them, right, it's going to be like, I'm not against you. Like, we're all there for one reason. We want to win. And I want you guys to have success. And I believe that team can be winning the Stanley Cup. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be changing this, and that. And we're going to be working together. When I'm telling you, your job is to work at it, right? And I know we're going to be making mistakes, and it's going to take time and so on, but we're going to be putting in the plan. You guys jump in and you do that. And we need to be trusting each other there, and we go with that. And I think from the moment we could have at least one practice, I think, we had a good start. In the first, the first 17 games, I think we're 9-3-5. We have a hard time in overtime, but that's 3-on-3. That's, for me, I was preparing the team for the playoffs. So I was not that worried about 3-on-3s. Obviously, you want to win every game, but we had like 14 games out of 17 or 18 that we were picking up points, and then we hit the COVID, and then that was all.
Did you change anything right away, like systems? Did you, like, as an assistant, were you thinking like we need to be more offensive, defensively? Like, did you change? What did you change?
Yeah.
If you did change anything.
We changed our neutral zone forecheck. We made some adjustment on the D zone just to.
Did you play zone D? Did you play zone D or man on man?
It's pretty simple. It's for me, it was a zone.
Yeah.
As soon as the puck was going to the blue line, it's a man on man.
Yeah.
So that was a thing.
Now, are you thinking, though, as an assistant, though, are you thinking about these systems, like this team should play these systems, but you're an assistant and you can't really say much?
When you guys asked me if interim and everything, so I really went with everything that I was doing before, and that I believe. I said, well, I have one chance. I'm going to do it my way, right? And so, it's sometimes, we had a lot of discussions with as a staff with Chloe, with Kirk, and so on. And I always give my input, and I didn't hide anything that I was doing before. But so we changed in all three zones. We changed, and it took time, but I really believe that for the team that we had, that was the thing to do at the time, and I think the players needed to be challenged that way too.
Well, you definitely challenged them, and then we know what happened. And you took over there the 38 games that year in 2021. We ended up 15, 16, and 7, like it's overtime lost points with 37 points you put on the board. You end up in 4th in the North. Went to the Stanley Cup final. Just embarking on that playoff series and that team coming together and dealing with, man, it was unbelievable to watch, Dom, honestly, as a former player. And then now I was in the media at the time, had my radio show. It was so awesome to watch this team.
Yeah, it was what a run. I mean, you've been part of you won in '86, and you had runs before, and what the kind of feeling that gets into the room, and the momentum and the everything. And
let's get with back to Toronto. I mean, down 3-1, Alex Galchenyuk gives the puck away in Toronto. And I'm telling you, I felt like he was a secret agent for the Montreal Canadiens. And giving that puck away, and that series right there just turned on a dime. I mean, Price played unbelievable, but what a feeling was that for you as a coach behind the bench? You've been in a lot of situations. This had to be just incredible for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. And every win is at that time of the year is a great battle, and it's a great feeling. But I think it's the day before that we really turned the corner, where we had a pretty good meeting, and before the meeting I sat down with Shea and Corey Perry, and we were talking about the situation, and then we started talking about opportunity, and then those guys were been through a lot, but like a guy like Shea never passed the second round in his career, and we had a chance there. So when we went up to the meeting, I talked about opportunity and the chance that we had to be, being in the playoff, playing the Leafs and so on. That everything that we talked about the day one, that when I came in and I said I think we can win the Stanley Cup. I mean, we have a chance here, so we need to.
And you're down 3-1.
We were down 3-1. We have our back to the wall. We got to get going, because I thought we were playing some goods, but we were inconsistent. We couldn't play that way for 60 minutes. And Shea talked after I made him talk, and Corey and Eric Stahl, and I think we really had a good start of that game 5. Like Armia scores 2 goals. I think we're playing much better for 60 minutes, and then that happened in overtime. We scored quick. And I think when I got back home, and my girlfriend told me that, but I didn't remember. But I told her, I think we're going to go all the way. That was what we needed, that kind of win. And then, winning Game 7 in Toronto was special.
Yeah, that was incredible. And I always say this. I know if you're playing a Game 7, you want to be the home team. But the home team has all the pressure, and the visiting team just really doesn't. Just go play. You win. And we know what happened the rest of the way. You go on and win the next round in just incredible fashion, and then Winnipeg. You sweep Winnipeg. It's like, are you kidding me? And all this. I say this about your coaching time, all this and dealing with the pandemic, all the the crazy stuff, no fans. Like, did you ever feel, I mean, here's the payoff, because you're doing well in the playoffs, but did you ever just feel overwhelmed by that? Like, geez, how come this is happening? No fans, players sick. This one got COVID, that one. How crazy was that for you?
Well, during the playoff, I mean, we didn't have to face that much. I mean, we did
A little
earlier
bit.
in the year,
Yeah.
right? With Armia, and then we went into a 25 games in 43 days. But the good thing is that we had more time before the playoff than usual. So we had like 5 6 days to prepare to play the Leafs, and I think that was great for us. We started well playing game one, and then we talked about the rest of the series, but I think that time really got us refreshed and helped us go on that run. Where we paid the price was like after the Stanley Cup final, after
Yeah.
coming back in September. But during that time, guys were so dialed in too. I know we wish we had 21,000 in the building, but we could feel the passion, people waiting outside for us after, before, and after games, and you know, we were seeing the images, and we could feel it in the city, right? But it would have been great to be having 21 in the building, and you know, and having people that went through that pandemic and coming inside and really enjoying that time together. I think it was a great run. I think people did enjoy it, but in different ways.
Yeah, I went to a couple games there, and they had some of the alumni in, but so the Winnipeg, you sweep Winnipeg, which I think surprised a lot of people, but you guys were rolling. The big hit on Jake Evans, cheap shot that was. I don't care what anybody says. And what I didn't like about Scheifele when he hit Evans, he didn't take ownership of it. Because here's the deal, and it was cheap. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I was playing against the Boston Bruins back in our day, and a guy was trying to score a goal like that, I would have done the same thing.
Mhm.
I would have went for him, and I would have made him pay the price. And it pissed me off that Scheifele didn't take ownership of it. He said he was trying to stop a goal. I didn't believe that for a second.
Well, we didn't like what happened for sure. And when you want to stop a goal, you come in stick on puck first,
Yeah.
right? So we didn't like the hit.
Did that
But-
galvanize your group even more so after that hit? Did that
I don't
kind of bring the boys together a little more?
Well, I think we were pretty. We were in a good momentum at that time. I think it didn't hurt us in the sense where it got something else to say, hey, those guys, we're not giving them one chance, right?
Yeah.
There's no way he's playing again in that playoff round.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be waiting for next year, and he's going to be even maybe suspended for the first game of the year if we do our job and we won in 4. So we had to sit for the first game of the year.
Yeah.
So that was maybe this, but we walked in, guys were mad. Like, we had great leaders and guys like Edmondson and Shea and those guys. Like, they were fuming in the room right after, right? Because, he got kicked out and the game ended quick. So, we just spoke about it a little bit after the game, but more the next day, and that was our goal. Like the only thing we can do first, he won't be playing. We won't see him. We got to concentrate and we got to be even better than we were. And I think we just kept getting better.
Yeah.
Didn't Evans score? Evans scored too, didn't he?
He did score, yeah.
So clearly
he made it
wasn't
5-3.
That's paying the price.
Stopping a goal.
Yeah. Well, that's paying the price to score a goal.
Yeah.
Probably the hottest goal he ever scored in his life. But yeah, so you go on the next round and facing Vegas, and you get COVID. What, 3 games in? You got COVID, was it?
Yeah, in between game 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3. You get COVID. You got to sit out 14 days. Now you're watching, talking, through phone calls and video calls with Luke Richardson, and then God, they end up winning that series. It like, talk about an exciting season, and this fan base was so ready for this. They wanted this. I don't think they expected it, but boy, when it came, you really got a taste of the buzz in this city. Even though it was COVID, it was still an incredible run. So you get the COVID, you're out. How difficult was that? What having all of a sudden now I got to stay home and watch this thing on TV?
No, I didn't feel that. But just we go into Vegas, we win one, we lose game one, and we win game two, and I remember waking up before flying the next day, and like I feel a little bit weird, but I do my media, come back home, and the next morning I'm sitting with my coaches, and Graham walks in and says, "You got to go home. You tested positive." You got to be kidding me, right? I mean, we couldn't go anywhere in Vegas. We were not allowed to leave the hotel. We couldn't walk from the hotel to the rink, which was 500 meters. And I did that. I said, how can I get it?
Yeah.
Probably elevator or something like that. So yeah, it's crazy. But what we did is we kept the same than usual. My assistants were running PK meetings, power play meetings, things like that. Uh, in between games and before, like pre-scouts and things like that, I would do my part, but by video. Obviously, I want to be there. I'm pissed off. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
But I still feel part of it. Even like game three, we win in overtime. Paulie Byron calls me right away when he gets back to the locker room, and guys are talking to me on the phone and things like that. So, Corey Perry calls me before game five. He's like, "We're gonna be going in Vegas. We're winning that one. You're gonna be coming back and coming back behind the bench at one point with us. We'll stay alive." So it's we're working together, and I felt part of it. Obviously, I was pissed off because I wanted to be there.
But everybody stepped up. Luke stepped up. The leadership group stepped up. You go to the Stanley Cup final. We know what happened there. You come back, and the Tampa Bay ends up winning the series 4-1. And boy, you listen. I had the opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. It's awesome. I never realized how difficult it would be to get there. And then I never realized after getting there and winning it, how difficult it would be to get back. Now, what an accomplishment. And Price never won a cup. It's all he ever wanted. Weber, same thing. They get there and you lose it. Boy, that really, it seemed like it really deflated those guys. Brendan Gallagher, they were just whipped and spent with everything, mentally, physically, and emotionally. You go through that off season, which was really quick. What was it, 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
And now you're coming back, and all the talk was this team is going to be so much better because Dominique Ducharme this year is going to have an opportunity to have his own training camp and implement what he wants to with this team. And then, I mean, you said it. You said you never intended to be here for a few months. You never intended to be just passing through on this job. And then this season started and the craziness happens, right? The COVID, the injuries. How difficult was that on you? And what do you think went wrong? Other than those things, all those difficult things you had to deal with. What went wrong? Did you lose the room? Did the players stop listening? Talk to me.
No. I mean, it's never fun to be going through those moments, right? Everybody wants to win and everything. But I had a good relation with the players. The thing is, we talked about it. It's a long, really short summer. Guys went to the gym 22 times in 6 weeks to get ready for 82 game season. That's so mentally and physically it's hard, and we get all those injuries and so on. So we're facing adversity, and when you face adversity, you need energy. You need more, right? If you were missing 1, 2, 3, or 4 guys, 5 guys, and at one point we were missing 14, 15, 16 guys. Well, we need those guys that are there to be, playing in the chair. They're not playing, used to be playing. You can do that with energy, right? You can compensate for a while with energy, and then you stay afloat, and then guys start coming back. But we didn't have that energy because of everything that happened before. So then from there, confidence, how are you going to be facing adversity? How are you going to be reacting? So it's not a fun time. And then having Burge leaving, I mean, he's the guy that puts me there. Then he leaves, and we know everything that happens. So no, it was a tough situation. But I every day, every morning, I was coming in, and I was doing everything I could, trying to find solutions or talking with individuals or the
Yeah,
group, everything. So I mean, it's tough to say one thing went wrong. I think
a
it was
lot of
just
things went wrong.
a lot of things went wrong, and a lot of things that sometimes we don't control.
Okay. Looking at this, and I'll go back. You started the playoffs. Kokanyemi, Romanov, and Caulfield sit out. Do you think? I mean, eventually we saw what happened. They get in, but do you think those kind of guys that hurt them going into the next year? Did they have an issue with you because of that? Did he kind of hang on to that, or was that fine? Did they understand it? I guess.
No, yeah. Well, I sat down with them, right? And for every one of them, it's different. For KK at the time, I thought he had a really good stretch, and then toward maybe the last 10 games of the season, like his play was not good. He was
Yeah.
The more he was playing, the worse it was getting. I used at the time. It's like you hit on the nail, and then at one point the nail starts
Yeah.
being
To bend.
crooked, and you keep hitting, it won't get straighter. So for
Right.
me, KK understood that. We took a step back with him. He missed one game, came back, had some pretty good playoffs. For Cole, I think he was coming out of college. He played a few games with us during the season, but playing playoff hockey is different. And we had those 5-6 days a week before we started against the Leafs, and we had everyone back from injuries. So I wanted to give the opportunity to those guys, and I want Cole to see it from a different angle, see the difference between the season and the playoffs. So that was our process with Cole, and I think once he came in, he got better and better as the playoff went on. And Romy, young defenseman, just
Yeah,
young
I get
defenseman.
that. I mean, he was up against the guys he was competing with to play. I mean, no question, he was up against it. So the season gets going, all the outside stuff is happening, and then from within, at one point, Jeff Petrie comes out and says that in the newspaper, Pittsburgh, that there's a lack of structure in this team. Now, me, I haven't been a former player, coached a bit, looking at that saying, man, this is a shot across the bow. It's like basically saying the coach has no control here. There's no structure. There's no nothing. How did you personally deal with that? I know how publicly you did, but personally, how did you feel? Were you like, come on, give it to me?
I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, I guess not.
And then I go back and I went and check and read and listen to what he said. He says that, and then 10 seconds after he says, we know where we need to be, but we're not there all the time. So for me, I'm like, what is this, right? It's like we have no structure, and then we know where we need to be, but we're not there.
So it's on us, basically, but he's saying it's on the coach 1 minute, now he's saying it's on us the next.
So yeah, so obviously the next day, we address it, and we clear that out. If there's one thing, and I'm gonna leave it there. If there's one thing I like to do. I like when things are clear. So anytime I finish a meeting, anytime I talk about something, I ask them. I ask my players, is that clear? Is that we're all on the same page? We know what we're doing, and so on. So I thought, at the time, I just think, PD had it was a tough situation for him. We know about all this stuff, and I think he wanted to play better. He wanted the team to play better. Um, I think I see it as a little bit of panic, a little bit from him, and
So
trying to figure out a way out of it for him
yeah,
and for the team.
well, you talked about the leadership group you had, and yeah, okay, Weber, there's not there, but you still have a good leadership group. Where are they when all this is happening? Or where are they? Because again, head coach has that leadership group. You want them behind you. Where were they when the shit hit the fan with Petrie?
Oh, they were there. They were there, but I mean, it's leadership is it's not automatic, right?
You know,
And going through those changes, it takes time to become a leader and to be doing it the right way and so on, right? And obviously, when you face situations where it's tough, you face a lot of adversity. It's tough to be a leader, and sometimes, like, a good example is Tyler Toffoli. Tough one, the Stanley Cup with LA. He comes in here. We go to the Stanley Cup final. I mean, he's been through a lot of things, and I remember sitting down with him because he was one of the guys that was becoming a leader with the guys that left, and he's like, "Damn, I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm not sure. I'm like, I don't, I'm learning at the same time, how to handle those kind of situations. And I can tell you one thing: the more it went, you could see Tyler establishing himself as becoming the leader of that team. Eventually, he left for Calgary, but it takes time. Like, no, you cannot just become a leader like this and then have an influence on the room and also how you're going to be handling situations. So, that was another thing that we needed to face. Is sometimes you think you're a leader, or we see guys maybe becoming leaders, but once they're put in those situations, then
their asshole tightens up,
yeah, that was it's
right?
yeah, no, but it's tough, right?
Yeah, it's not an easy
There's
situation to
only
be in.
one guy wearing a C, right, on the jersey, and
So what was like as a just day to day, like coming to the rink when this is all happening? I mean, I've been traded, I've been sent down, I've been on teams where, like, I saw the writing on the wall. Like, how are you? I mean, at a certain point, it's got to be tough to go to the rink. Are you actually believing every day you might be able to change this, or
yeah,
like
There you go.
yeah, that was for sure. Like, I'm coming in, I said, all right, sometimes you you play a good game the night before, you think, oh, all right, we're heading somewhere, right? But the toughest part for me was, like, it seems like every day, like, something different was happening. Like, like, at one point it was like, okay, what's gonna happen today? Like, I'm supposed to have two guys back, and sometimes I was coming back. Oh, all right, we got two guys back, but we lost three. So I thought we were getting in a better position when I'm leaving this morning, but I come back, we're in the worst position again. Like, and it seems that way all the time, like every day. So, like, getting up was like, okay, like,
Tough going to the rink, right?
yeah.
well, it's like, I hope nothing, like, can we have, like, something positive today? Like, not like just guys coming back, not guys leaving and getting hit by COVID or being injured or whatever the situation is, right?
Well, you had like 10 guys had COVID. Then you had guys who were injured too, right? And all the cards are stacked against you. How? Let me ask you, and I got a few more, and then we'll let you go. You've been generous with your time, but so you had all them guys out, and you go from the Stanley Cup final, and now you start this next year and things start going south. They're not going well. A lot of losing. I know what it's like to come to the rink when you're losing. It's not fun. How difficult was that emotionally on you, going from up there and now the team is where they're at? Did you feel like you may be in trouble at some point?
It's not easy, right? It's not fun. Like it's
Yeah.
not fun to be coming in and not having success. No,
Did you
not
kind
only
of
that.
feel all alone? Did you kind of feel all alone?
Well, a little bit. I mean, especially when Mark leaves, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Well, then, yeah, when Mark gets fired, then you're there. You're out on a branch now, and it's cracking.
yeah. So there's all of that, but you always like you try to control what you can control, and you come in and like try to simplify things for guys. You try to just trying to help everyone, and it was a tough situation. Not only for me, it was a tough situation. Like you look at the players. You know, nobody had the career year, so it was tough for them too. And the other thing is like we were seen by everyone, by the team that went to the Stanley Cup final that was not doing well, but we were not that same team, but we were seen that way. Like the expectations when we started the season is, we were going to be, we're going to keep going with what we done in the playoff, and we're going to keep moving forward. And then everything happened, and
Well, you had that confidence, right? I mean, you said you were confident that when the season starts, we will be ready and we're going to have a good season. So you were confident of that going in, obviously, and you've lost some of that leadership. There's no question. And then things start to go off the rails. Mark gets let go. Gorton comes in November. Now, and then he eventually hires Hughes. And you were quoted as saying you wish you knew what they wanted from you, basically. Are they going to rebuild the team here, or do they want me to win? If they didn't come down and tell you, I guess what I want to ask is, why didn't you go up there to Gorton or go to Hughes and say, hey, what do you want to do here? What do you want from me? Do you want me to develop these kids? Do you want me to play the kids? Or do you want me to win hockey games? Why didn't you go in? I read the quote that you said they never came and explained that to you. Why didn't you go to them?
I asked once, but um, the situation was not the same at the time.
What situation?
Well, I mean, we didn't have many young players. Like they didn't start trading guys and bringing in younger players and things like that, right? When I was there, so yeah, for me it was confusing a little bit, just knowing what to expect. Like I didn't have much retroaction on that. Like I would, but I think it was clear for them. Just they wanted to just make a change, and they wanted to, when you come into a situation and you become the new boss, and you just want to
You want your people.
Was this the first time you got fired? Was this the first time you ever got let go? I mean, that it could be like, it's a new situation to you to experience too. Like,
No,
I mean,
no, yeah, and it is, and it's not fun. But we talked about myself going through all the steps, and that was I faced adversity different ways, but not being fired. Now I'm facing this, and I'm gonna take that. It's gonna be making me a better coach. The goods, we talked about the playoffs and so on, is a good experience, something that would stay with me. And the bad, well, I'm it's experience again, right? And I'm gonna learn from it, and I'm gonna move forward, and I'm looking ahead, and all those things that we went through, positive or negative, are gonna make me a better coach. That's
Okay.
it.
How many? What do you got? 1 year left on your contract, Dom?
I got this year and next year.
This year and next year. So, does that go into your decision whether you take a job or not? Because you're going to get pretty good money the next 2 years. Why would you take an assistant coaching job or a head coaching job somewhere else for less money? Would you consider doing something like that, or do you want to get the money that's owed you? Or is that too personal?
No, but I'm gonna go in like I want to go in a situation where it's a good fit, right? If it's being an assistant with, depending on the coach and so on, the situation, and with people that believe in me, right? If the difference between Mark and like Gorton and Hughes is, obviously Mark had a lot of belief in me, right? He put me there. We went to a run and so on. As a coach, you need to be having and be working with people that believe in you. So depending on the role and the situation, if I feel that I can help, if I can have an impact, and it makes me a better coach, I'll do it.
So to be a better coach, if you look back on your experience here in Montreal, can you look at and be self-critical and say, where did I know there was a lot of outside influences, but if you could go back and you're self-analyzing and you say, all right, where did I screw up? Could I have done this better? Could I have done that better? What could have you done better to help your own situation in this team?
That's something that we do every year as a coach. If I don't do it, like I'm not getting better as a coach. And I did the same thing after the Stanley Cup final. I was doing the same thing after my years in junior, and obviously I did the same thing there. There's always something to take out
and to learn, right? So what did you learn?
Well, I mean, leadership and to be having success in the NHL as a coach and also as a team, building leadership, building, for me as a coach is really important. I think you look at the team, the Boston. There's a reason Boston is always where they're at, right? I think they have good coaches, but they also have really good leaders, and I think those guys have brought within the years, like the Shara and Bergeron brought the Marchand and now the Pasternak, and now they're going to be bringing in the McAvoy and those. So I think building that is really important, and there's other things, right? There's situations, there's X's and O's, but like I said,
where can you be better though? I get the leadership part, but where can you be better, if at all?
Well, as a coach, I think you can have an impact on that too.
Yeah.
Right. You cannot only coach guys on X's and O's, right? You can be working on preparing leadership and working with leadership,
managing people.
Yeah, sometimes. Right? Yeah, managing people. I really have a strong belief in what I do, but it's not necessarily on X's and O's. I'm not like really stuck up on one thing that this is the way we need, like it needs to be played. I think there are fundamentals that if you don't do, whatever you do, it won't work, right? And I really concentrate more on fundamentals and things that you control than X's and O's. So for me, that's sometimes that's those are the kind of things, and reflecting back that you need to be even trusting even more.
Well, your time obviously was so exciting here for a bit, and then the end not so fun. And whenever I guess coaches get let go, it's not fun. I was in that situation. I was with the Devils that year with Jacques Lemaire. I got let go, and it was not fun. I understand it for sure. But now moving ahead, what's your ultimate goal here, getting back into hockey? Like, you want to be a head coach again in the NHL, no question, right?
no question. And you know, you know, I always said that I want to be an NHL coach and I want to win the Stanley Cup, and that's where
That
that's
hasn't
what I want to
changed.
do, and that's where I'm going. And
With fans. You want to win with fans in the
with
building.
fans, yeah, with fans. And you know what I want to do? I want to do like Chris and Lucien did in Joliet and bring the cup downtown Joliet.
Yeah.
But this time I won't do it like those guys. I won't steal it.
Yeah, remember that? It's funny.
was there.
Were you?
Wait, what's the story?
I was there, right there beside them.
You were, huh?
Oh, I was.
Now, listen. I didn't know at the time, but Tim, back when we won the cup, Lucien Deblois, who I played with, a teammate, was from Joliet, where Dom is from. We had to take the Stanley Cup there that day under Molson. You know, Molson. It was a Molson promotion. So we went and we stood and took pictures all day. And I said to Lucien, you know, his dad was in a home not far from Joliet. He wasn't feeling well. He, you know, was near the end of his life. So I said to Lou, I said, man, we'll never get this thing again. Let's steal it. We were there all day. So he went and got the car. I'm taking a picture. Smile. And they had 2 Pinkerton guards there, right? They got security there with it. And I took the last picture and I ran up the street. I threw it in the car and off we went. Went to see Lucien's dad. It was unbelievable. I'm telling you, Dom, unbelievable to see the look on Lucien's father's face. He was in tears.
Yeah,
now, it was incredible. And that's so funny. Now, how old were you then?
Well, I was 13.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was there. You know, I was a young guy, and I was a young hockey
You weren't
player.
like, hey, I'm going to go on this guy's podcast. And so,
I did, like,
at
unbelievable.
some
right?
time, I'm
But-
going to go on this guy's. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But I was there, and I knew Lou a little bit because going to his hockey school and stuff. But to see those guys with the cup and stuff, and for me that's what I want to do. And it's I haven't lost that edge that I had, and that's for me that's the only trophy I have left to win.
Well, Dominic, listen, I want to thank you for taking the time. I only wish things ended better for you here because you deserve better. You're a good person. You're a good man. You're a good hockey coach. And I just hope for you land on your feet again and you get that opportunity. And one day you're able to steal the Stanley Cup you won't have to steal it. They'll give it to you. You'll be able to bring it back to Joliet.
Yeah, and you'll be invited to come with us.
Well, I appreciate it. Dom.
Yeah, Dom, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.